Welcome back. Episode 5, Big Steaks and Protein Shakes.
Yes.
Episode number 5 already. I feel like this is going by super fast.
It is. And especially for a weekly podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it was a long time recording between this one and the last one because
I went on vacation
that one earlier. But,
last one's audio was a bit rough. I don't know what the fuck happened.
I don't know. I think we got it straightened out. So if you're watching the YouTube version of this, we got some acoustic panels that we got up now. Got that all straightened out. So hopefully...
Well, they're not straightened out because we got them like 30 minutes ago. But
true. Well, we'll get them all. We'll get them all situated. So... All right, man, episode 5. So we're back here. Obviously, there's a lot of shit going on in the world. And,
there is.
Obviously, we decided not to be political on this podcast. But with that being said, just from a humanitarian standpoint, obviously thinking about the people in Ukraine and all the shit that's going on over there.
Yeah.
Putin's a bastard. That's all I'll say. I don't think world leaders should invade any. Like, it's year 2022. Why are we invading other countries? Like, I don't know. But
have you ever seen his workout videos?
I've seen a lot of stupid shit from him.
Yeah, he should not be invading anybody.
No, there's something I'll show you later. That's it's a funny video. I might put it in the YouTube version of this. Insert it in. It's a funny Putin reface thing. It's hilarious. I'll show you.
Is it me? Am I the drama? I don't think I'm the drama. Maybe I am. Am I the villain? I don't think I'm the villain.
All right, guys. So, obviously, like we said, our thoughts, are with the people of Ukraine and the situation going on there, and hope that it gets resolved sooner than later, and with good outcomes, because it could turn pretty bad pretty fast. So, all right. Other than that, guys, today's episode, we got some interesting shit today. So, word of the week, we got that coming up, and then we have a very hot topic that can definitely be polarizing.
See how hot it gets.
Yeah. So stick around for that. We got some Q&A that you guys submitted from Facebook and Instagram, so I appreciate your guys' questions. And then, of course, a new part of our podcast, fitness tip.
Yeah.
We'll call it Angels Angles. I don't know.
You don't want Angels Angles.
I don't know, dude. You got some squat videos that I'm like, that boy got some booty. All right, man. So, word of the week, vulnerability. Mm-hmm. So, this is not an easy one, right?
No, dude. I've been trying to think about it since we talked about it, and
well, I think that's part of, and it goes into our hot topic, but it's part of being raised as a man that, vulnerability isn't something that we should have according to, certain sections of society. Mm-hmm. It's hard to be vulnerable. It's really difficult sometimes. Admitting truths can be vulnerability. Being out, during a fucking hailstorm can be vulnerability. So there's different degrees.
I don't think I've ever, going through high school, sure, I was, had some moments of being vulnerable, but, nothing, really stood out to me, because it was probably just something stupid in the moment. But, when I was thinking about it, I was trying to think of, the first time I really felt, super vulnerable, and it was, I was trying to get my real estate license, just trying to make a lot of money. And then, I totally, screwed myself, I, quit my job, and then I stopped making money, and then I didn't try as hard as I should have. So then I, became super vulnerable because I was, I had, no control of my life, pretty much.
Yeah.
My life is still, really good. I have no complaints, but, that was, a super vulnerable time for me because, I couldn't really do anything. I was, living paycheck to paycheck,
Well, even then you had to get a paycheck back.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
Like, I quit my grocery store job to end up working at a grocery store again. Because, I mean, it's easy work, and you can always find jobs in the food industry, probably.
But I think that vulnerability led to you ultimately having the courage and the willingness to pursue what you really want to do now.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, it sucks to go through it in the moment, but I think that if you hadn't have had that vulnerable moment where you're, you know, like, you're running out of money, you don't have any paychecks coming in, like, you know, the real estate school thing, like, you just kind of let that, you know, roll. But I think that it brought you ultimately to what you're studying now. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, like, even just the comparison of seeing, like, your drive and your passion for it, huge difference.
Yeah. That I was trying to, that's what I was really thinking about when I was signing up for my personal training classes. Like, is this something like I really want to do, or is this going to be another scenario about like me getting my real estate license? Which I think I probably will get my real estate license still, like eventually. You know, like it'll be good to have.
It's a good business to be in. I can't complain.
So like I'm definitely going to do that, but I had to make sure like with myself that like I knew this is what I wanted to do, and like obviously like I have such a strong passion for it. Like even if like I didn't do this yet, like my passion for fitness would still be the same, you know, like.
Well, that's the thing, is that most people don't chase what they love, and, you know, then they come back and they end up in this perpetual vulnerability where they're constantly unhappy and unwilling to admit it. So it's a good thing that you...
Or they think it's too late to change.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's never really too late to change, you know?
No.
Like all the fucking things Gary Vee says.
Yeah.
Like, I love all that. Because, like, he's like, you're 28, you're still a fucking baby. Like, it's true. I mean, like, obviously, like, tomorrow's not promised or anything, but that's even the stronger point, though, right? Because, like, if tomorrow's not promised and you don't know how many days you have left, then that should give you all the more reason to be like, fuck it, I'm taking the leap of faith. Yeah. You know, like, I'm going to jump off and see where I land. I wish everybody thought like that. I was having a conversation with somebody, and, like, they're older, stuck in, like, a regular job at the grocery store, and he's like, what did he say? Says something along the lines of, like, oh, I'm way too old to do that, or, like, too old to, like, because he said he wanted to start some other business, like, a long time ago, and then never pursued it, and he's like, I'm too old for that. I'm like, no, you're not, dude. Like, he's like, yeah, I am. He, like, wouldn't listen about it, which, like, I get. Like, people are stuck, you know what I mean? Like, I was stuck for a long time, but it's good for people to realize that, like, it's never too late to start something, you know what I mean? No, that's true. I mean, it's never too late, and that's the key. Like, when it comes to that, it's never too late. It's always, if anything, it's always up for discussion and always up for action. Yeah. Making a change in your life should be something that more people should feel comfortable doing, because if you're not happy, then you end up miserable, and vulnerability plays right into that. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, like there's certain limits. Like, say, like, you're 80, you can't move like you used to, or, like, anything. Like, if, say, you want to get in the best shape of your life, like, you can still get into really good shape. Like, well, maybe get into better shape. Well, no, I mean, even if you're 80 and you want to get in the best shape of your life, maybe you weren't in good shape your whole life. Yeah. And at 80 years old, you decide, this is what I'm going to do. Dude, if you watch some fucking shit, there are some, like, 75-year-old women and men that are, like, stronger than you and I. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck? But, you know, I think I will say that I don't think it's ever too late. And I think if you're 80 years old, I think if you're 18 years old, I think if you're 22, I think that if you want to make a change, change it. Because the sooner you do it, the better. The longer you wait, you don't know how much time you're losing. Yeah. And another thing people wait for is, like, someone else to help them. You know what I mean? Like, and, like, sure, like, you'll get help for a while. Like, if you have a good family structure, like, they'll help you. But, like, there's a certain point where like you need to take control of yourself. You know what I mean? Like you need to take accountability. I think we talked about that, last episode? 2 episodes ago?
I think it just came up, but I don't think that was over the week yet.
Like talking about how like you need to take responsibility for your own actions, and like you're ultimately like responsible for the change that you want to make. Like you can't have, like you can have help. Like I talk to you every day like about like, hey dad, like how do you fix this, or like just anything like that. You know what I mean? Like you can have help, but like it's up to you to like make that change and get it started.
Oh yeah, absolutely agree.
Because how many times did you tell me like you should be doing this, and like I just didn't listen, you know? Like,
well, that's where vulnerability as a dad kind of kicks in, right? And it's funny, I was thinking about this the other day. When you are a dad in today's world, I can't imagine like the difference of what like a dad even 20 years ago to teenagers, 40 years ago. Like you had more attention from your kids. Like I think that things have changed significantly where there's so many distractions that can pull away that I think, you know, this is one of those things where I think that it's just like I'm always here for you guys, but there's days where it's like I'll see you guys doing, you know, X, Y, Z, and I'm like, you're taking the hard road, and I've told you. But like I think over time, like I've learned, and that vulnerability is that like I think no matter what, I can tell you till I'm blue in the face, right? And I can exhaust all avenues and all this shit, and you're still gonna, you know, push your way whichever direction you want to go. So it's interesting, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, vulnerability, word of the week. So speaking of vulnerability, our hot topic for the day, and I know that usually we talk a little bit longer about the word of the week, but I think our topic is probably going to demand a little more time from us today. So with that being said, our topic of the week, what is it?
I guess like the best way to put it is like maybe, I guess, just being a man in today's world, like with all the stigma about it, and like, just being a man in today's world.
So we're talking, you know, the stigma behind it. That's the proper way to put it, I think. You know, obviously this topic might ruffle some feathers, so I'll be interested to see what people's responses are to this.
Yeah, and I mean, like most of this is just going to be like our opinions and like what we see and what we experience. Yeah. Because I mean, like, obviously, like you can't speak for all men, all people, but like, I mean,
well, you know, and here's the thing. So masculinity, being a man, it's, I think, I know I'm going to get fucking shit for this, but it is a fucking hard thing to be a man in today's world. Like, no doubt. Not to say that it's any less difficult or hard to be a woman. But again, this is just from my experience, your experience, like, as men. You know, you look at, like, for example, toxic masculinity. I can't stand those two words. I can't stand them. I think we get clumped in with men who are assholes, men who treat people like shit, abuse their wives, because if we exert any sort of male attitude, dominance, whatever you want to call it, we get, put up for it. Like, and the difficult part is that, you know, and I mean, obviously I'm not trying to be PC about this at all, but I don't think that the world sees what it's asking of the men in it. I think that there has been a huge turn of trying to make men more. And here's so before I jump into that, every man, regardless of how fucking alpha you are, regardless of how beta you are, whatever words you want to use, every man has a masculine and a feminine side, just like every woman has a feminine and a masculine side. It is a balance that people play with and don't understand. And I think that just a lot of society has tried to make men show more of their feminine side. And, for example, when I grew up with a single mom. So, I only saw a lot of the women's perspective of things. That didn't make me more feminine, though. It didn't make me more, I have a deeper understanding of women. I know what women say behind closed doors to each other about men and other women. Mm-hmm. That gave me a very fundamental understanding of and I will throw this right out there, a lot of people say that men are disgusting and they only talk about, sex or tits and ass and all this stuff. And I can't even lie. Women talk about it, if not equally, if not more.
Yeah.
And they are a lot more and this is one of those things where it's going to be one of you have, so for example, you knocked down one of our panels here.
Keep going, I'll get it.
You basically, okay, so if your buddy goes out and hooks up with, let's say, Jenny, right? And he's, I went on a date with Jenny and, went back to her place, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, how'd it go? It was great. Had a good time. And then, a lot of today would be did you smash? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome, man. Give each other knuckles, blah, blah, blah. That's it. Women, and I know this from experience growing up, women will go into detail. They'll talk about how good somebody was, how bad it was, how, and it's not to bash women or anything, but it's funny how things are definitely put on men just in that aspect of we're this or that, or, when I think that as a whole, the people that are saying these things don't realize that women are just like men. They're just the female version. They're human beings.
Yeah. No, yeah. And obviously, I'm a total mama's boy. I got my baby sister.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. And I think I really started understanding I've always had a deep respect for women, obviously, and all that stuff. And I started really understanding when I went up to Minnesota, most of the really good friends that I made up there are girls. And we didn't live in a bad part of town or anything, and but we'd be walking back from the library, or they'd be walking back from the library, that they'd call me, or they can you come pick me up, can you come walk with me, things like that. And I feel of course I had no issue with it, but it's just sad, and I mean there's some terrible people out there that would definitely take advantage of situations like that. And I'm glad that I could be there to help people out and be there for somebody like that. But you always hear about not all men, or when they're really trying to say all men are the same, or anything like that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When that's not the case. People always try to to say men are all the same in regards to sexual desires, sexual intentions with females, how they view women and all that stuff. And all guys boobs and butt, but that's not what all men see, you know what I mean?
Well, even then, I mean, it's one of those things where it's so a lot of women will say that men are horn dogs.
Yeah.
Right? That's all we want is sex. there's a lot of women that all they want is sex, and not every single man always wants sex. Like, that's not facts. Like you said, yeah, we like boobs and butt, but that doesn't mean that's all we're after. You know, and I think that it's one of those things where we get clumped into, when there's some really shitty guys, we get clumped into the box with them. And I think that's where I have issues, especially with, you know, like being married, having a daughter. Like, I want to raise my daughter to be this strong, amazing woman that knows how to take care of herself, that can do everything for herself. But I also want her to not grow up and be some sort of man hater, or like, you know, where I really realistically want her to see herself as everybody should see themselves, as equal. Like, without going super deep into history, because there's no way to sit here and say that women didn't have to fight for equality, that they're not still fighting for equality on some levels. But aside from all of that, because I feel like that there are things that still have to be resolved, and there's history that had to happen to get to where we even are in that regard. But when it comes to, you know, how men are treated in today's society, I feel like, for example, a lot of times men won't share their feelings, and the main cause of that is because if we do, it gets weaponized against us, or we're seen as soft. You know, and luckily, not my situation, but I've been in other relationships before where if I even began to express my emotions or how I felt, I was called a pussy for it by the girl I was with. You know, like, because I either didn't, you know, I didn't agree with something that they said, or I didn't, you know, like I had my own feeling on it, like my own emotion on it. I was chastised for it. So, like, you know, women wonder why a lot of men don't share their feelings. It's because at some point in their life, you know, and sometimes it's the men in their lives that teach them not to share their feelings, right? Like, you guys growing up with me, like, fucking cry during Lion King, dude. Like, you know, like, my emotions, you guys have seen me cry plenty of times. I'm not afraid to admit that I do cry. Like, my emotions play a part in things. But to be honest with you, like, this is the way I look at it. For me, I'll fucking cry during an episode of This Is Us. But if somebody else thinks that they're fucking more manly than me, they can challenge me and they're gonna lose. Like, just because you don't cry during a fucking movie or a show doesn't mean that when it comes to, you know, being male dominant, being aggressive, any of the necessary, like, normal, I want to call them protective instincts, that doesn't mean they're not there. Does that make me any less manly because I cried during fucking, you know, the season finale of This Is It? No. Like, I'm still, it's that whole, you know, it goes back to Jordan B. Peterson, right? Like, and I don't agree with everything he says or disagree with it either, but you can be a man with feelings and emotions, but you should still be an absolute monster. It's what's that fucking quote? It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Yep.
I mean...
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, like, after, like, everything that I've seen, after, like, just, like, lately, because obviously, like, I'm still very young, and, like, I don't have a whole lot of life experience, no kids, no real, like, no family, like,
no family,
like you guys.
Fuck, man.
I don't have my own.
All right, guys, I've just vanished. been fucking snapped out of existence.
I don't have my own family. Like, I have a girlfriend that loves me, but, like, we're not married. We're just kids, you know what I mean? But, like, being a man to me is, like, being able to be vulnerable, being able to, like, express how you feel without, like, feeling bad about it. Because, like, some men, like, if they don't know how to control their emotions or, like, express them, like, when they do, like, it either comes out with anger or, like, other, like, negative emotion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, I'm guilty of that. Like, I don't typically, like, share my emotions because I feel like they're not valid or, like, anything like that, because it's just kind of, like, what I, like, used to think. But, like, lately, like, I've been a lot better about it. Like, I try to talk to my girlfriend. Like, I'm not very good at it, but, you know, you still try.
Yeah.
And, like, luckily, like, my girlfriend doesn't chastise me for it either. And, like, it's just being able to recognize that you can do that, be vulnerable, have emotions, care about people, think that a fucking butterfly is cute, and still be a man, you know what I mean?
Man, I agree. I think that's where I think you're on a beautiful path here. So let me ask you this, though. What made that shift for you to where you weren't able to share to where you are?
I don't even know. And, like, I don't even know why I ever, like, used to think like that. Because, like, I don't know if it was because I'm the oldest sibling and, like, I kind of, like, understood more things about, like, growing up, like, with everything that was going on. I don't know if I just, like, had to, like, try to take the brunt of it or anything. But I think when I started relaxing in my own body, like, being able to, like, live for myself, then I kind of understood myself more. And, like, especially when I made my girlfriends up in Minnesota, and, like, I don't talk to, like, all of them really anymore, but, like, I talk to a couple of them almost every day, and, like, it just, like, made me realize, like, not the other side, because, I mean, there's not really, like, an other side, which, I mean, there is, but there isn't, you know what I mean? Like, we're the same pretty fucking much.
But I think what, and let me interrupt to ask you this. When you say see the other side, it's because you weren't yet aware.
Yeah. I've always, like, if I see a girl walking on the street at night by herself, like, I'll avoid her because I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable. Like, I, like, purposely don't look at girls sometimes. I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable.
See, but that's where...
But then, like, you know, like...
That's the tough part. Because...
Yeah, I know.
Like, for example, I was raised that you gave people compliments and you were nice to them. You held the door open. You know, like, there's times where...
I'll hold the door open for anybody.
But I don't know if you've experienced this yet, but, like, there's times where I've held the door open and some lady would be like, you don't have to fucking do that. I'm independent. And I'm like, cool, I was doing it because you're a human being. Like, I do it for the old man behind me, too. Like, you know, or where, you know, giving somebody a compliment on, like, for example, nowadays, if you make a compliment because somebody changed their hair color and you say, oh, your hair looks nice, you can be dragged into an office for sexual harassment.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. Like, if you give, like, that's why I don't really, like, I don't know.
But that's part of my issue with being a man in today's world.
Yeah. No, I agree. And, like, that's why I don't compliment people, except for, like, if I know them on somewhat of a personal level at least. Like, I don't know, like, I've worked with girls and, like, I don't even, like, talk to them really because, like, I don't want to risk anything, you know, like.
But see, that's the sad part. That's what makes me.
Because men are always so falsely accused of, like, and I mean, like, there are like we said, terrible people in the world that actually do that. But like it goes both ways. Like men are also sexually harassed. Like oftentimes, like when that happens to males, like it goes untalked about because
Dude, no, I mean, so I will give you, and I don't know if I've told you the story before. So when I was just before I started working as a bouncer, I was working at Walmart in the deli, and I don't remember her name, but I worked with this girl. I mean, she very definitely had a crush on me, like, and I mean, we flirted back and forth back then, you know. But at one point, she had come up behind me and smacked my butt, and a customer saw and reported it. So I get called into the office, and they say, well, we wanted to talk to you about an incident that happened. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? They told me, well, you know, the customer saw that, you know, and I don't remember her name, but so-and-so smacked you on the butt, and it made the customer uncomfortable, you know, so we're going to start a sexual harassment report. And I was like, no, I don't want to, like, I mean, we were just kind of flirting, you know, it was inappropriate, but I don't want to get her in trouble. And they're like, well, no, like, we're going to, you know, we're going to suspend you and investigate it. And I'm like, you're going to suspend me? Like, I mean, I was about to turn 20, you know, like, I was like, no, it's actually about halfway. Yeah, this would have been like mid-19. So I was a kid and I didn't like know what to do in that scenario other than just go, what can I do? Okay. You know, like, and in the long run, they ended up saying that, you know, her smacking my butt was, you know, against sexual harassment policy and that I was let go. I went back to go fucking buy groceries. She was still working there. Tell me how it is that I get my ass smacked and I get fired.
yeah,
Like, that fucking makes no logical sense. And, you know, like, it doesn't. Here's the fun part. You would assume by telling that story that it was women managers who fired me if you're just like, oh, well, how could that happen? No. It was a male manager and a female manager that had me in that meeting, and they decided to let me go because somehow me getting my butt smacked was me sexually harassing that girl. So that's where, you know, I do have issues with, like, how the world is. And, like, if you compliment, imagine how many people would smile more if you were able to compliment somebody without them thinking that it was a fucking sexual advance or, like, you hitting on them. Like, you know, obviously if you work with somebody, whether you know them well or not, and they went from having brown hair to, you know, bright red hair, hey, your hair looks great. Like, that's not, hey, your hair looks great, you know, and your butt looks fantastic in those pants. No, it's just your hair looks great.
yeah,
Like, compliment to you. Have a great day.
yeah.
You know, imagine how many more people would smile about it. But I don't know.
It just sucks, like, how you have to be, like, you just have to, like, walk on eggshells, kind of. Not, like, every day, not around everybody, but, like, you just never know, like, how people
But I think that's
react.
part of the experience of being a man in today's world, right? Like, and that's sad. Like, we have to deal with being viewed as, you know, aggressive or possible predators or anything like that. Like, I mean, yes, I'm a big guy. Yes, I am larger than most, and I hate that people will notice my size, because then, like, going back to the psych ward, right, like when I worked there, it's, everybody assumed that I was, like, gonna beat their ass because I just walked in the room, and I'm like, motherfucker, I'm just here.
Yeah,
Like, do you need something? Like, do you need a snack? Like, I hate to say that, but, like, that's what I, like, you walk around and you make sure everybody's safe and you do your rounds and, you know, make sure everybody has towels and snacks and water and nobody's trying to hurt themselves or hurt other people. But every time I walked into the unit, just because of who I was, and that was both men and women, but,
Yeah.
you know, like, that's the difficult part, is, like, how we are viewed, especially when you're larger sized man. Like, I can tell you almost, like, and that's the sad part, when you say you have to walk across the street from somebody so that you don't make them feel uncomfortable. Like, if a guy that's like 5'6", 120 pounds walks on the same street, is he going to be viewed the same way as us? There's even different levels to it.
Yeah, that's I was going to say something about that. I didn't know if I should. And like, obviously, like, I don't like dress crazy or anything. I'm always literally wearing basketball shorts, and they go above my knees. I was talking to my friends the other day when I was in Colorado. We were in a restaurant, and I went to the bathroom, and I was walking back, and like, I just had like a bunch of eyes on me, and I was like, dude, like, what's up with me right now? Like, what's going on? And my buddy was like, you just got a lot going on. Like, you're a tall, handsome dude. You got a long beard, long hair. You're wearing a football hat. You're wearing an anime shirt, and you're wearing like thigh-high shorts with Converse. Like, you got a lot going on.
So you looked confused. No, just kidding.
I don't know. But like, I don't know. Like my coworker, I work with this young girl. She was talking about how she's scared of one of our coworkers. Not like in a bad way, but like she's like, I don't want to talk to him. He's scary. Like, because he like always seems angry. And I was like, is that what you thought when you first started working with me? She's like, no. And I was like, okay, good.
But see, like, you smile at people more normally than I do. And I think that has a big effect on people. Like, and I don't know if it stems from, when I was a bouncer, then working at the psych hospital, and like, I just have that resting bitch face for a man. Like, but when you smile at people, it eases them up. So that, that's one way to combat that. But like, I still think it's shitty that we have to mind our P's and Q's as men. Like, I think you should just be raised, like, my participation in raising you guys from an example as a man is treat women with respect. They're equal. They're no less valued than you are. Emotions are okay to have. I also am a big believer of don't play too much into your emotions. Like, have them, process them, but don't don't let them fucking live there. But like, I mean, the world around us molds certain things that we can't control, and I think that there's a spiritual I don't know how to say what she does, but she's like a spiritual teacher, right? She had shared this group called the Sacred Sons, and I went to their site because she was on one of their podcasts. Her name's Bella Divine, by the way, before I forget to put that out there. But she had shared this podcast that she was on with this group called Sacred Sons. So I went and checked out their shit, and I mean, guys that are very like raw, manly, like I'm too much for that. Like, these dudes literally teach each other how to be, and I forget what the word they use is, but they teach each other how to be men as kind of like an evolved, like, you're still a fucking man, like, you should be connected with nature. Like, that's a big thing. Like, they have these, I think they're called EDXs or something like that, or EMX, one of the two, but they go out in the wilderness and they do these things where, like, they do all these kind of like groups and like gatherings of where, you learn how to express your emotions, be able to share, like, and I think the big part of it is like the world does need men and warrior men, but I also think that the time of like fucking the dark ages where everybody's dark and broody and everybody's an alpha, and we don't need that anymore. Like, there's a certain level of people needing to be aware that there is a consciousness level of this planet that if we don't start paying attention to, we're fucked. And like the whole situation in Ukraine right now, like, why are people invading other countries? Because of fucking machismo and fucking, I want this territory to be back for Russia. Like, for what?
Yeah.
Like, we all share one fucking planet. Like, there is more and more as it comes to light. There's more scientific proof that we are all connected in some form of like consciousness that I like is above me. Like sometimes I read about this shit and I'm just like, I understood like a half of it, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
You know, but like the Sacred Sons, for example, they do these groups where men learn how to be men, and you know, they seem to not walk out of there any less a man, and they walk out knowing that they have brothers behind them. You know, and I don't know. I think I'm going to dig further into that.
That is interesting.
Yeah, I'll send you the link and you can check out what it is.
Yeah. No, I mean, like that's why, like, I'm fortunate for like all the men I have in my life. Like, I don't really know any shitty people that are like directly in my life. You know what I mean? That have had an influence on me. Like there's things I'm gonna do differently than like other people think. Like that's just natural. But and like I don't know, just like a stupid example is like me and my girlfriend when we've like lived together. Like she's going to be a nurse, so she'll be working like 12-hour shifts. She's going to be busy, like be gone all day. I'm going to have to cook and clean. And like there's men out there that think that that's like weird, or like oh, you should still save that for the woman, blah blah blah, or like how she shouldn't even work, like you should go make all the money. Like for like the next couple years maybe of our relationship, unless like my business like pops off right away, like she's probably gonna make a lot more money than I am. And like I'm
so she's gonna be the sugar mama?
Yeah, I tell her that all the time. And like I'm very like we're very comfortable with each other, and like so obviously like this comes from like a joke, but like I'm always like, yeah, I'll be waiting for you to get back and make dinner. And like she tells me like, go fuck yourself, you know, not really, but like so like obviously we're playing about that, but like you can't like say that really, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing is that I think that because you don't see yourself above that, like, so full disclosure, right? Like I'm not, because any one of your brothers can go and say, well, you know, dad doesn't do the dishes. Like I'll do the dishes every once in a while, but like to be honest with you, like I grew up, it was mine and my brother's responsibility to do the dishes, right? Like I don't even see them as mom's responsibility right now. I don't see them as my responsibility. And this might just be like somebody's going to go like, well, that's not how you parent. I see them as your guys' responsibility when you're living here. Like,
I think it's so funny how my little brothers bitch about it, because I literally was so much more busy than them in high school, and I never complained about it. I mean, like, sure, I'm like, I don't want to fucking do dishes. I just got out home from practice, but like, I still did them, you know?
But see, like, and this goes to, you know, like there's families out there where as soon as you turn of age to be able to work, you go out and you earn money and you contribute to the family and all that. And it's like, I honestly didn't ask you guys any of that. Like, even before I got into real estate, where we weren't, you know, like financially well off, like, I very well could have said, like, Angel, I need you to quit football and get a job so you can contribute. Yeah. Like, and there's families out there that do that. Instead, I wanted you guys to have your quote-unquote childhood, you know, and be able to enjoy playing football, for example, hanging out with your friends, things like that, you know. And it's like, well, if you're not going to contribute financially, that's fine. In fact, I promoted that. Like, but at the same time, like, if I'm asking you to do dishes and clean up dog poop, well, dishes and dog poop it is, you know? So, like, but at the same time, like I tell mom all the time, there will be a point where, like, you're already moved out, you know, and there will be a point where your brothers are moved out, and there will come a point where even, it makes me want to cry thinking about it, but your sister will move out. And then it'll be mom and I, standing in an empty kitchen, just her and I, doing the dishes. And I'm more than fine with that, you know? But, like, I don't ever expect her to do the dishes or have dinner on the table or anything like that. And I think that's where you have an advantage, because you have that same understanding with your girlfriend that, you know, it's not her job because she's the woman. And I mean, if that's the way that it works out in a relationship where,
yeah. I mean, like, that definitely still happens. Like, there's relationships where there's just stay-at-home wives and mothers, and the husband will go to work. Like, it's totally still fine. But, like, that doesn't have to be the case. Like,
it shouldn't be the expectation.
No,
right?
it should not be an expectation. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And, like, there should be expectations in a relationship, but there shouldn't be any roles. You know what I mean? Like, housework, dishes, garbage, all that shit is just like normal functions if you're going to be living in a house for anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Like, you'll never catch me going over to your house and doing your dishes.
I don't know, man.
I cannot wait for when you are married and have kids and everything, and then, Mom and I joke all the time, we're going to go in, turn on all the fucking lights, leave our shoes in the middle of the hallway, fucking leave plates all over the place, cups in the fucking guest room wherever we're staying. Like, I can't wait for that shit. Because Mom thinks I'm joking. I'm going to do it. You got to be like, what the fuck, Dad?
I'm gonna buy Costco packs of socks, and I'm going to go put them in your couch.
Fair.
Yeah.
I'll walk out with new socks. That's
No,
cool.
they're going to be children's socks.
It's a win-win. Well, then I get your sister's socks, so I can donate them to Goodwill. Well, I mean, to wrap this segment, because this was kind of, look, men should be able to talk about what the fuck they want to talk about. They shouldn't be chastised for their feelings. They definitely, and this is coming from a perspective of, like, what men should be able to do and, like, what they should be. Men should be understanding that regardless of whether you're a man or a woman, you're a fucking human being.
Yep.
And that deserves complete and total equality. Pay them the same. Fucking, if they can do the same job, the same level, pay them the fucking same. If they can, if one's better suited for a position over the other because one has more experience or one's more talented or skilled, I don't give a fuck what that person is. If they're man or woman, the one that has the more skill, the more, experience, give them the job.
I mean, there's plenty of jobs that are primarily female, like probably teachers, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, teachers tend to be primarily female.
Nurses. And
that's the other thing, too, is like, look, if a man becomes a nurse, like, I have a couple buddies that became nurses. Mm-hmm. And, like, there's people that joke about that.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's nurse, like, because when other men think that they're so fucking machismo that they're like, they envision a nurse in, like, a little white fucking dress with a hat on. Like, that's not, like, a nurse is there to help people. Yep. It doesn't matter what fucking, if you have tits or you have something hanging between your legs, like, you're there to help people. Why the fuck are other men making fun of men for becoming nurses or, anything that's more seen as primary, like, female function? Like, I think the only exception to that is, like, if you're going to go be a stripper in a fucking, women, like a gentleman's club, like, well, you probably can't be a man or you're not going to make a lot of money. Like, I'm sure you can do it, but I don't think you're going to make a lot of money. I could be wrong, but, the one thing that I did, I was looking into this, and the one thing that didn't shock me, but still shocked me is, there was an interview that I'd watched with Jordan B. Peterson where he talks about the suicide rate between men and women. And, I looked at the fucking actual rate, and it's like for the year 2020, or it was 2019, sorry, 3.6, so almost 4 times difference in suicides between men and women. I think that there should be something done about that. And I think that, people should accept that men are just as capable of being abused because of the fact that, and I think, and this is just my opinion, but I think that a big part of that is that men are taught you don't hit women. Mm-hmm. So if a man's getting his ass beat by his woman, what's he more than likely going to do? And then if he calls the cops, what are they going to say? You know,
Yep.
they gonna take him seriously? Like, so that's part of the problem. So hopefully, hopefully the solutions come about, and I don't know. Maybe this is a continued episode where we talk about this at another point, because I think there's a lot of people in this space too that we can talk to that, might be able to shed some more light on it.
Yeah.
Because I think as people who, part of our thing is fitness and health, and I don't ever think that like bodily health and mental health should be disconnected. I think they're all one, because people tend to forget that your brain is part of your fucking body. And granted, it doesn't do the same thing as your muscles, but it does everything for your muscles. So you should probably take care of that too.
Yep.
All right. So we had reached out on the Instagram and Facebook and had asked for questions. So one of the first questions we got was from my buddy John. So shout out to John for asking us a question here. He asked about who stood out at the NFL Combine today.
I didn't watch it.
So I didn't get to watch it, but I did kind of get to watch the highlights. And I gotta say, like, from reading about, all of the participants that were at the Combine, one of the highlights was probably gonna be Greg Dulcich. I don't know how to say his name. Dulcich from UCLA.
Yeah, the tight end.
Yeah,
I did see that.
He did pretty well. And then we also had Jelani Woods. He's out of Virginia, I believe. And he's also a tight end. And he led all the tight ends with the bench press of 24 reps, which was pretty impressive. And then he ran 4.61. So for a tight end, that's fast. And I think he's 6'7". Imagine a 6'7" person running 4.6. That's kind of scary. That's fast.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's my like.
The one that I did see was that quarterback. I'm trying to find it. He went to Liberty. I don't even know where that is. But they were just like blown away by him. Oh, I just found it. It says NFL draft rumors: Malik Willis blowing away coaches. And apparently he just had like an absolutely amazing combine.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna probably watch the highlights tonight and give a more thorough answer on next week's, and that way it gives a complete picture. John also asked about who they should pick with their, their number 2 and 32 picks. I'm going to say I don't know at the moment because I have to look at their roster and see what they have, but they should not draft a quarterback. I don't think that there is a quarterback in this class that's worth drafting first round or second round even. I think maybe third or fourth, yes, but I think quarterback class.
I think for position for the Lions is probably a front 7 player. There's no standout players.
No.
I think they need like an interior lineman or an edge rusher or a like stud linebacker or a receiver that can. Who's their quarterback? Jared Goff?
Jared Goff. I think they give Jared Goff one more year.
Yeah.
Like honestly, one more year and then they dump him. If he doesn't do anything, well, they dump him. Yeah. It's not worth the long-term investment. But I'm definitely going to look more into that and have a better answer. The one that so I'll be honest, Ollie reached out and asked pea protein versus whey protein. I have not looked into pea protein. Have you?
I've tried it, and like, I take whey protein just because it typically has more calories. Pea protein is more natural, and like, it's probably better for you, especially if you have a sensitive stomach. My roommate takes not pea protein, but it's like plant-based protein, which there's probably pea protein in it. I think it's probably just better on your gut because he gets messed up from whey protein, so he uses plant-based protein.
See, I don't know. I only take whey protein.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a protein that I would much rather take than the one from Costco, but like, it's whey protein is whey protein.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have to look into it more.
Yeah, I've never looked into pre-protein, so I was kind of interested about that question. Let's see here. David DeLeon from, I actually work with him. He's a mortgage lender. So he asked about lifters etiquette for the gym. I have very simple rules for lifters etiquette. If you're not using the fucking machine and you're trying to chit-chat with a fucking gym buddy, move the fuck out of the way. Period. I think that's it. I also think re-rack your weights. Because if you don't do that, you're just a douchebag.
Yep.
What about you?
Like gym, what does he say? Gym etiquette?
Gym, like lifting etiquette, like gym etiquette.
Is that what it said?
Yeah, lifters etiquette for the gym.
Lifters etiquette. If you're talking like for a personal level, I think that you should definitely be respectful of people, which goes along the lines of what you were saying. I don't know if I'm gonna get hate for this, but people say not to wear gloves, and like I don't wear gloves, but like if that floats your boat, do it. Like,
well, it's because people don't want to, calluses on their hands. I mean, whatever. Like to me, I don't like gloves because I feel like it makes it more like.
I don't think it's good to lift with gloves because then it's just another thing for you to like rely on, and like it's just another tool. Like there's a lot of tools to use in the gym. Like in my gym bag, I have another pair of shoes that I squat with, which I haven't really been using because I'm trying to fix my ankles. I have a belt, I have knee sleeves, I have straps, I have wrist wraps, and they're just all tools.
Yeah.
So like, I squat with a belt every time that I deadlift or squat 60 to 70% of my max or above, just because I don't want to risk it. I use knee sleeves for the same type of thing on squat. Wrist wraps like 50 to 60% on bench. So like, they're just all tools, and like Ronnie Coleman used to wear gloves, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know why.
I don't know. I don't want to do gloves. So that answers that. Molly asked, who wins the college mascot fight between the UCSC, and I've never even heard of these, Banana Slug or the Evergreen State Geoduck?
USCS.
Banana Slug.
Banana.
So I'm going to go ahead and say the Geoduck. I don't know what either of these mascots look like.
That's the Banana Slug.
Oh, well, that's not too bad. I mean, what's the Geoduck look like? So Evergreen State Geoduck. Let's base it off appearances here. Even though we were just talking about not basing things off of appearances. You're talking mascots.
The Geoduck gets rolled.
Yeah, I think the Geoduck
Kind of in focus, maybe?
Yeah. I think the Banana Slug wins that one.
Yeah. Look at him. He's got an umbrella and he's pointing. He's just trying to catch the ball.
Very special. As far as... Oh, William. My man. My battle buddy. So, Tucson Sugar Skulls. You know what? I haven't followed them. I did see they're having tryouts, though, I believe, this weekend. And then, okay, two last questions here. This one comes from Leave Me Alone Broski on Instagram.
Shep, one of my players.
He said, should the rules banning steroids be more enforced in all sports? I'm going to go out and say yes.
Yeah.
I think that it should just be equal across the board. I'm a big, like we said in our last podcast, if you're a big time lifter or you just lift consistently in the gym, you've either thought about taking steroids or taking them. I have only thought about it. I prefer to remain natural. But I think in regards to sports, I think that true competition when it comes to
bodybuilding, that's what I would say.
Well, I mean, bodybuilding is one of those things where, like, honestly, they should just stop fucking ignoring the fact that it exists, because there's no way you obtain some of those results without them. I think they just make a different class, and I think it should be left to personal opinion on whether you're going to take steroids or not.
Well, there's pretty sure that there's like natural.
Well, no, I mean, but I don't mean like the fucking physique ones versus like, because they still are technically banned substances. But that's what I mean. Like, I think they should just stop pretending like it doesn't exist in the sport.
Yeah.
Because then you like, steroids are also a tool, a very intense tool, but a fucking tool. And I think that, but I think like when it comes to like football, all of that, like I think it should be equal. Because I mean, you're talking about, you're an athlete. If you want to be a bodybuilder and be as big as fuck, yeah, you're probably going to use steroids. Like there's only a certain limit. Like there's only a certain limit that you and I will ever hit. Be natty. Period. But I'm okay with that.
Then I'll think about it.
All right, and then last question here is, Tommy asked, what's something that people seem to misunderstand about you? I want you to answer this one first.
Something people misunderstand about me. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of things, but people don't like tell me. Probably how I feel about things, because I like to say I don't care, or like I'm just super easygoing, when like I kind of just want, like, I'm like a people pleaser, just like, yeah, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
So like people don't understand like how I feel most of the time.
That goes back to sharing how you feel. You should do that more of that. All right.
What about you?
Something people misunderstand about me. I'm not as fucking, like, and I say this only because I get this a lot. I look super serious all the time. I'm not that fucking serious. I make horrible dad jokes. If you ask, mom, my wife, like, I got a decent sense of humor. I like to smile. I like to laugh. I like to have a good time. And yeah, that I'm not that fucking intimidating, man. Like, people just perceive that from me, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I wish that's something that
If they
people...
knew I knew you, they would be like, wow, this guy's soft.
Soft, okay. I'm going to go beat your ass off camera here for a minute. All right. Oh, you know what? There was one last question here that we had, and that was going to tie into your... I'm going to call it for this episode, Angel's Angle.
Don't call it that, man.
We should do... Okay, Bigger Pockets has this thing where they go, quick tip. Okay. Angel's Angle. All right. So the last question was, again, from John. Shout out to John for all the fucking questions. I appreciate it. Keto diet raised my cholesterol to a higher than normal level. Should I change to a Mediterranean diet?
The thing about like the whole keto diet fad, which that's exactly what I think it is just because you basically are eating just fats and like some protein. And like there's this girl I work with that did it. She's been doing it forever, and she lost like 120 pounds. But like, go her. But like, she's like, I mean, like, it can cause like heart failure because you're eating just so much fat, and it causes your blood pressure to rise. Like, I haven't studied keto a whole lot because I am now interested in doing it.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to.
I need to. The only reason I did is because she was asking me about it. And like, your energy levels will probably be so low. Like, people are like, no, but do you get energy from ketones? Like, that is
so Mom and I did the keto diet for a little bit, and we lost. I think the appeal to keto is that you're not eating fucking vegetables all day, and you're not like, necessarily counting calories. Like, you still kind of are, but if
you do keto properly, you could lose weight. If you do keto wrong, you'll lose weight, but then the second you stop doing keto and you start eating whatever you want again, you're going to gain all that weight back, because it's just not a reliable way to lose weight healthily.
So, per John's question, then, do you think Mediterranean diet that he should switch, especially if he's
I think it would be better, but I think that obviously, like, the best diet is the one that works for you. You know what I mean? I think a Mediterranean diet would be better than a keto diet if, like, you eat. I think you can still eat grains and, like, bread. Grains,
because you need those
fish.
carbs.
Like, as long as you're getting, like, carbs, especially if you're an active person. Like, keto is a good diet for people that are not physically active because you can lose weight without doing anything. Like, that's kind of what it is. Like, that's like the people that I know that have tried keto 100 times, like, are still, like, unhealthy because they can't commit to it, and it, like, doesn't work right away. So then they start eating whatever they want again, and they gain more weight because they're just eating all that fat for so long. And, like, fats are the most, like, they have the most calories per gram than, like, I think it's protein and carbs have 4 grams or 4 calories per 1 gram, and then fats are like 9. I think something like that.
You probably know more about that than
I don't remember the exact numbers, but so, like, it's just not healthy to eat a bunch of fats like that. Especially, like, you have to eat, like, unsaturated fats. Like, like, you need fats still in your diet, but it's just a healthy, balanced diet. Like, that's what my diet was throughout 75 Hard, was literally just trying to hit my percentage goals, which I changed all the time.
Well, see, and that's what I
trying to do.
think, because John also started 75 Hard, and, well, he's same as us. He's done with phase 2 already.
If you're doing 75 Hard, you need to be eating carbs because you're working out twice a day.
Well, right now, he's in between like we are. But still, I think he's trying to maintain a diet like similar what we're doing.
Okay.
So
I definitely suggest, especially if you're an active person and you do exercise at all, you need to eat carbs. I mean, like, you don't need to, but I think you should.
good shit. Any more on your angels angle?
I think that'll be it. I was going to talk about, like, nutrition, kind of. Like, I haven't even taken my nutrition course yet, but, like, kind of like when I started doing 75 Hard, I kind of had to learn real quick because...
But that's the thing, is that practical versus textbook.
Yeah.
Right? So like what you learned practical during 75 Hard.
What worked for me, and I lost 35 pounds, and I'm not even, like, to where I want to be yet, is being accountable with what you eat. Like, I love, like, I have such a sweet tooth, and, like I'm not even on 75 Hard right now, and I had a couple of bites of crumble cookie the other day on Emma's birthday.
Shame on you.
It's the best. But, and, like, I don't crave it like I used to anymore. Like, when I first started 75 Hard, I was like, oh, man.
Well, you know what? Here, before we wrap this up, I do have one question for you. So you're 22. So newer to the drinking world, legal drinking world, I should say. So obviously, like, you and your friends would have beers before, you know, like, and drinks, you know, when you guys went out, like, before 75 Hard. Do you still, because this is something that John and I talked about, and obviously, like, I quit drinking 7 years ago now, almost 8. Yeah. But, you know, the urge to drink, like, when you hang out with your friends, is it as strong still, like, you know, like how before when you started 75 Hard compared to now?
No.
No?
Like, some days I don't even, like, want to drink. They're like, yeah, let's go out. I'm like, all right. But, like, I'll go out and I'll just drive. Like, I won't drink.
That's interesting, though. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, John said the same thing. Like, he'll still enjoy, like, when he's not doing the phases, like, he'll still enjoy.
I had a couple drinks with Emma yesterday on her birthday.
Yeah.
But, and, like, I did enjoy it. Like, I had fun. Like, I didn't get wasted or anything. Like, we had a couple drinks, and then we went and got a couple beers. So, like, I had a few drinks throughout the day, but, like, I was good.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of, I don't know, I'm not into, like, shotgunning beers and, like, taking shots anymore, which, like, I had a shot with Emma on her birthday.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and here's the
it's a
thing, right? So, like,
celebratory
I say I quit drinking 7 years ago, but at the same time, when you turned 21, you and I shared a drink together. You know, like, that's something that I didn't get to do with my dad because he lives in Mexico City, and, like, yeah, I couldn't travel down there and all that at that time, but, like...
Shared a cigar and tequila, right?
Yeah. cigar and tequila, some Terramana tequila, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was.
It was pretty good.
Damn,
It was
man.
pretty good. Yeah.
That was a year ago. More than that.
More than that. All right, man. Well, I think that's our episode. One thing I do want to throw out there, guys, since we talked about suicide rates in men, just suicide in general, I do encourage anybody who is going through some shit that they feel like they have nobody to talk to, talk to somebody. Reach out, even if you want to shoot me a DM.
Me too.
Like,
I have soft ears. I'll listen to anything.
yeah. And if you don't feel comfortable with that, you can always call, a crisis line. One of the crisis lines that comes to mind right away for me is the AFSP. I don't remember exactly what it stands for. It's American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. There we go. And that number, in case you ever need it, let me see here, is 800-273-8255. I worked in a psych hospital for 3 years, and one of the things I did enjoy about it was helping people that were in that position. So again, if you feel like you need to talk to somebody, reach out, me, him, or
Somebody you trust.
somebody you trust. All right, man. So where can our people find you?
You can hit me up. Hit me up on Instagram, Angel Big Legs Desma, or my personal Angel 52 Ledesma. Either way. I've been on it less, but if I get a notification, I'll reply to you right away. I think my number's connected to my Instagram too, so if I don't reply, you can send me a text. Yeah, I'm pretty good about answering my phone. So
they should come and sign up at Be Strong.
yeah, I'm back in town and I'm grinding now. So taking my classes, trying to get people into that gym, because apparently we're trying to open up a third location. Maybe.
Nice. Well, I know that your younger brother Adrian just signed up.
Yeah.
He actually went and worked out last night after he got out of work.
He told me. He was snapping. And I woke up at 4 a.m. and I opened it and I was like, oh my gosh.
Fucking walking like a baby deer this morning. It's good though, man. Like, it's funny. He said, Dad, how do you feel when you're sore? And I'm like, bro, I work out all the time. Like, I'm never not sore. You learn to love it. But I do miss like that feeling that he gets, like, that like ache. I don't get that anymore.
So I wasn't for a while. You just got to change up your workouts sometimes.
Yeah.
Like big different things. Like,
Maybe you'll have to give Dad a workout plan. All right, guys. So hit him up. Be Strong Powerhouse. Go there. And if you guys have any questions about real estate, as always, reach out to me. Realtor 520 Raul, and that's on Instagram, pretty much everywhere. Or shoot me a DM on the Big Steaks and Protein Shakes podcast Instagram page. Oh, that was a mouthful. Any closing remarks?
no, I had fun. That was a good one, I think.
Well, I'm happy that when you went snowboarding, you didn't fucking ruin your face on any trees, because it's a pretty face.
Yeah, that's all we did pretty much was just go through trees. We were going
you
through
sent me
this.
that video, and I'm like, you brushed that one tree, and I'm like, don't fucking hit the trees, man.
Yeah, man. I don't know why it was a black diamond trail, and like,
Yo, let me chance this.
and I was like, this looks really cool. Let me take a video. So I have like one hand not in a glove. I'm like trying to record, trying to avoid trees, and I get hit the freaking branch, and I was like,
Well, appreciate you came back in one piece and no broken limbs. That's always a blessing. So, guys, until next time, we're signing off. If you have any questions or you didn't get your question answered, that doesn't mean you won't get it answered. Just means we didn't have time or an answer for you this time around. I'd rather give you the right answer than the wrong one.
yep.
So, all right, guys, have a great morning, day, or night.
Yeah.
Whenever you're listening to this. And please share away whoever you think this could help. If you know there is somebody in your life that might benefit from listening to us, share it with them. That's all we ask.
Share it if you love us.
Yeah. All right, guys. Later.